Did you ever think breast cancer was something that happened to older women? I know I did. And then one day, at 37 years old with 2 young children, planning for the future as you would, and I suddenly heard you've got breast cancer. And I had to deal with words like diagnosis, treatment, prognosis, and everything that comes with that journey. In today's episode, we're going to talk about why breast cancer can hit a bit differently when you're a young mom. It's about the fear of not seeing your children grow up. It's the exhaustion of trying to keep up with everything that comes with motherhood and parenting. It's the loneliness of feeling like nobody truly understands what you're carrying. To prepare for this episode, I spoke to other moms and I looked at the research and I realized something important. What you're feeling is real. It's not just happening to you. So come sit with me. Let's talk through this. Are you scared of leaving your children behind after a breast cancer diagnosis? Are you carrying fear, exhaustion, and that mom guilt while still pushing through every day? If you're tired of holding all of that and want simple ways to support your children and feel held in your journey and move through each day with a little more strength, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Priska. I'm a mom of 2, a woman of faith, and a breast cancer survivor. As a mom, I tried to carry it all alone, but I was never meant to. So I created this space for us. Come sit with me. You don't have to do this alone. So go grab your cup of tea. Yes, that cold cup of tea. I know you've heated it thrice already. And let's get started. Hey friend, before we get started today, I just want to say I'm really proud of you for showing up for yourself today. I know life can feel really heavy sometimes, so the fact that you pressed play, it means more than you know. And if you know someone who's going through a breast cancer diagnosis who might need to hear this episode, please do share it with them. Sometimes a simple message saying, I thought of you when I heard this, can make someone feel a little less alone. And if this podcast has helped you or encouraged you in any way, please leave a written review too. I truly love hearing from you. And your reviews, they help other moms find this podcast. So let's get started. Hey friend, can I be honest with you today? When I was diagnosed with breast cancer at 37 with 2 young children, cancer was the last thing I expected to be dealing with. And I know that's true for you too. Because when you think of us, or when many of us think about breast cancer, we often picture older women whose children are grown, women who have already lived through many of the milestones we're still looking forward to. And in fact, most of the support services are around women over 50 who have finished parenting. Not moms who are still packing lunch boxes, not moms who are still helping with homework, still being called on 20 times before breakfast, and still being needed every single day. And so when I was preparing for this episode, I spent some time talking to other moms who have gone through breast cancer while raising young children. And I also spent some time looking at the research around younger women who've been diagnosed with breast cancer. And what struck me was this: the fear you're carrying, the exhaustion, the loneliness, the overwhelm, the worry about children, the mom guilt, it's real. And it's not just happening to you. Again and again and again, I heard the same themes. Women talking about the fear of leaving their children, the pressure of trying to stay strong, the loneliness, and the grief of having life interrupted at a stage where you're supposed to be building memories, careers, a family life. And if that's how you're feeling, I want to know there's nothing wrong with you. You're responding to something incredibly difficult. And so today, I want to talk about why breast cancer can feel different when you're a younger mom. Not to make you feel discouraged, but to help you feel understood, to help you feel seen, and hopefully to help you feel a little less lonely. So you see, one of the things I realized while talking to other moms was that breast cancer doesn't arrive in isolation, because it arrives in the middle of life, right smack in the middle. It's in the middle of raising your children, you're building a career, you're paying a mortgage, or you're probably looking after aging parents and still managing the school drop-offs and trying to keep a household running. So life is already full. And then breast cancer walks through the door, and suddenly there are scans, there are appointments, there are treatment plans, all these medical terms you've never had before. And then there's the sickness that comes with the treatment. And somehow you're expected to keep functioning while carrying all of it. One mom shared what she felt, what her life had become. She felt like her life had been split into two parts. There's the life before cancer and a life after cancer. And I think, honestly, many of us can relate to that, because cancer changes things. It's not just physically, it's emotionally too. And let's talk about the fear for a minute, because that is one thing that has come through every conversation I have had with other moms. It's this. It's not always about the treatment. The fear is not always about the treatment. The fear is not always about the surgery. And it wasn't always about losing their hair. It was about the children. Will they be okay? Will I get to see them grow? Will I be there for their first day of high school? How about their graduation? Will I be there for the wedding? And it rang so true to me, because my first prayer after diagnosis, it was not God make me better or help me get through treatment. It was God, please let me live to see my children grow up. If this has been you, just know you're not alone. It's what most mothers go through. And I think motherhood changes the way we experience breast cancer, because our hearts, our little hearts that we take care of, they are walking around outside our bodies, and we are supposed to look after them, and yet we can't. Something else that came up over and over again was the loneliness. This might surprise you too, because many of these women have supportive families. They have supportive partners, they have good friends, they belong to a very supportive church community, and yet they still felt very, very, very lonely. Because being lonely is not about being alone. It's often about feeling misunderstood. It's when your friends have come to see you, or probably you're hearing from them. And don't get me wrong, it's when they're talking about holidays and school events and weekend plans, and you're happy for them, but you're thinking about the scanned results, or you're dealing with the treatment side effects, or you're dealing with whether your body can handle another round of chemo. And you suddenly find yourself living in a world that most people around you don't understand. And even though they try to empathize or sympathize, they will not understand until you go through those shoes. They will never understand. That can feel incredibly isolating. I know for me, that rings true, because there were moments when I felt surrounded, when I was surrounded by people, but still completely alone in what I was carrying. And if you felt that way too, I want you to hear this. You belong here, because there's so many women carrying similar fears, similar questions, and similar worries. So you're not as alone as breast cancer sometimes make you feel. You've got a space here. Now let's talk about the exhaustion. Whew. Before cancer, I thought exhaustion meant being tired. Like I could sleep and I would wake up and I would be fine. Well, this was something entirely different. It was next level. It is the physical exhaustion. It is the emotional. It is the mental. It is the spiritual. And it's the trying to answer questions when you have no energy left. You're trying to make decisions when everything in your brain feels very foggy. You're carrying everyone's emotions while still trying to figure out your own. what makes it even harder as a mom with young kids is that motherhood doesn't stop. Your children will still need their dinner. They'll still need to be comforted. They'll still need to be dropped off. They'll still need to go to birthday parties. They still need love. It is active. And so many moms feel guilty because they simply cannot do what they used to do. And if that's you, please hear me. Your worth is not measured by your productivity. Your children need your love, just the way you show up, not your perfection. Then there's another thing that most women expressed. It was the grief that nobody sees. It's not just the grief for your health. It's the grief for the life that you thought you were going to have. You're young, you've got plans, you've got the certainty, you've got a future that you've imagined. At this age, I'll do this. At this age, you've got the vibrancy of life around you. There are some women who will have to grieve their fertility. You will grieve the changes to your bodies. You'll grieve the version of yourself that you knew before cancer. You lose your breasts. You lose, probably, depending with your treatment options, you'll never have kids again. And that grief is valid. And you don't have to pretend it isn't there. You can be grateful to be alive and still grieve for what has been lost. Both things can be true. Because sometimes people tell you, oh, you're so lucky to be alive. And yet they don't understand the grief that you're living with, of the lost opportunities, of the lost you, of the lost future plans. There's a grief that happens. You can be grateful, you're very grateful to be alive, but you're still grieving for what has been lost. So what do we do with all of this? Because it's there. The fear is there, the loneliness is going to be there, the exhaustion is going to be there, and the grief, it's going to hold and it's going to sting. I don't have answers for you, but I have what I kept doing. I kept coming back to God, and not because I always had strong faith. Sometimes I actually gave God a break. I said, God, I'm just tired, because I was either too exhausted to even think of me. Sometimes my prayers were really messy. Sometimes I was angry. Sometimes I cried. And sometimes I had more questions than answers. And I kept asking, okay, why God, But I kept showing up. And over time, I've realized something. God was never waiting for me to be strong. He was simply inviting me to bring him what I had. My messiness, my fear, my questions, all the things that come with being a young mom with breast cancer. So I want to take this moment to speak to you as you're listening right now. You've just got the diagnosis or you're in the middle of treatment and you're wondering, how am I supposed to go on as a young mom? There's a verse that has helped so many people through really dark seasons. And I want to share it with you too. It says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." That's in the Bible, Isaiah 43, verse 1. And I know right now, don't be afraid might feel impossible. Because everything about this journey can be uncertain. It feels uncertain. Your body, your future, your children, your sense of control. It is all uncertain. But do not be afraid is not a command to switch off your fear. No, it is a reminder that even in the fear, you are not alone in it. I have called you by name. This means that you are seen, not just as a patient, not just as a mom holding it together, but as you, me as Priska, you as you, with your story, with your dreams, and with your love for children. And then the next sentence is, and you are mine. To me, that speaks of a belonging. That even in a season where so much feels like it's being taken away from you, that's your identity, your strength, your sense of normal. There's still a place where you're held, known, and deeply loved. So this diagnosis does not erase who you are. It does not cancel your worth. It does not take away the fact that you're still needed, still loved, and still held. So today, if you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling lonely, overwhelmed, and wondering why breast cancer feels so heavy at this stage of your life, what you're feeling is real. But I hope you leave this conversation with something important, that you do not have to carry this alone. You are seen, you are known. And even here, especially here at this period of your life, you are not abandoned. You are still held. Because breast cancer may have become part of your story, but it's not the whole story. There's still hope, there's still purpose. There's still a life to be lived. And friends, there's always a seat here for you, right next to me. I will see you in the next episode. I hope this episode held you in some small way today. And if it did, please share with a friend who needs to hear this, or maybe needs a soft place to land. And if you feel ready, please leave a written review for the podcast. I'd truly love to hear from you and to know that this show is supporting you in your journey. This space, it's not just mine, it is ours. So now go take a breath, maybe reheat that tea one more time, and I'll meet you back here for the next episode. Ciao.